Hey guys, we are back. Great morning here at Drago's. You guys have amazing food, Tommy.
We've got a full array of, we've got the Cajun, we've got the, the New Orleans style, which has a lot of French influence, and we have just plain old new stuff that's nouveau and good and just enjoy.
Now, coming up, we're going to do alligator. Let's talk a little bit about your alligator.
Well, we use nothing but farm-raised alligator. You have two different kinds that you'll see in the stores. You'll have a wild-caught gator and you'll have farm-raised. I love wild-caught. It's a much cleaner. The meat is a lot whiter. It's not as slimy. The wild-caught is gray. It's a little kind of pasty, slimy. Not that it's bad, because that's flavor when it starts cooking. But we go with this mainly because it's a little bit more tender. It's a lot more tender, actually. And when you try our gator tacos, absolutely delicious. And we're going to be cooking that in just a little bit.
I am looking forward to that. Earlier, you were talking about oysters, and you pioneered the charbroiled oyster.
You know what? Even a blind squirrel can find a nut every once in a while. And so I just got lucky one day. We had a redfish dish that was on the half shell. We cooked on the half shell. We used a butter garlic sauce, and I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what would happen if I put an oyster on a half shell on a barbecue grill and used that sauce. We added a little bit of cheese. That's the same sauce we used 30-something years ago.
I love it.
We're selling millions of oysters now. The coolest thing is walking into another restaurant and seeing grilled or barbecue, or sometimes I just got to pinch myself. And think,
I did that.
Like Paul Prudhomme, he's the famous guy that really made redfish almost extinct and made it, what it is. And to think I had a small part to do with oysters, and it's a great feeling.
Do you just want to go up there and say I did it first?
Every once in a while, the ham bone in me wants to say,
I would have to do it.
But it
now,
is.
one of the things you guys do that's really cool is, when you have oysters, you have shells, and you're doing something really good with the shells.
Well, even before Hurricane Katrina, before it became popular, we were working with recycling. We would work with a guy, a fisherman from St. Bernard, and we would take all of our shells and put them in a trailer, and he would come once or twice a week. He'd bring them down to St. Bernard, he would dry them, and then he'd put them back in the water. So they would, there's nothing better for oysters to spat off of, or they mate, not mate, but that's where they grow, that's where the baby oysters attach to oyster shells. And when it attaches to an oyster shell, as opposed to something else, it starts pulling the minerals out of the oyster shell, so they grow faster and better, and it's a much better quality. But now oyster shells are being used, for coastal restoration. They put them in these baskets and these nylon biodegradable bags, and they're helping build the shoreline. And what happens is these spats start growing to it, and things start growing on it, and whether it's mussels and it starts to be a great barrier and help grow the coastline.
Good. Well, coming up, I got to ask you how many oysters you guys go through a year. We're going to go to break now. More coming up.